You're a Christian?
Yes, sir, I'm Orthodox. Yes, Orthodox, man.
Nice. Are you Oriental or are you Eastern Orthodox?
Eastern.
Nice, nice. How can I help you today?
Well, first, man, look, all respect, bro. My man, follow, good friends. He's a Muslim. He put me on to you. You know, you're definitely one of the best. You're up there with Jake. I like Jake, the metaphysician.
Yeah.
Um,
I wouldn't say that, but
he's
I
yeah,
appreciate it.
he's good. I think yeah, I think he's definitely one of my favorite. Obviously, I'm not Muslim. I don't believe in
Yeah.
it, but just want to give you the respect you deserve. But I just want to hop on and speak about the Trinity, man. Hope to be respectful. So yeah, the Trinity. Talk about defending it, and so I've heard you've had conversations with God Logic and such, and you and I'm really curious. What's the main issue in regards to the Trinity in regards to it not being monotheistic?
Yeah. Before I talk about the Trinity, I like to speak about whether the Trinity even existed in the first 3 centuries.
In the first 3 centuries.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, if we can make an argument from silence, a good argument from silence, it would be that if Jesus taught the Trinity and the apostles and the early church taught and articulated the Trinity, then
mhm.
we would expect mainstream Christians, mainstream heresiologists, church fathers, church writers to espouse this doctrine. But as far as I know, and as far as scholarship is concerned, there's no such mention of a Nicene Trinitarianism until Nicaea, or around that.
Understood. I know you. I know. I'm actually on your Patreon. I saw and I read. I think I read all of it. Your document on that
That
on in regards to.
it's half finished actually.
Oh,
So
it's
it
half
has.
finished. Jeez Louise, you
Yeah,
got more.
there's a lot more fathers before Nicaea, but yeah,
So
those are the most popular ones that I have on that
yes,
document.
yeah, and so we could definitely talk about that. But then I believe it would then come into interpretation issues because now, correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think that they taught subordinationism?
Absolutely, yeah, of course.
Okay. And so what is your and so because I want this to be like more of a productive conversation because I mean we can talk about that. I'm gonna be honest, it's not my biggest strong suit. I'm more read on the Cappadocian Fathers, and I have read Justin Martyr. I've read some of the
Right,
early
you've
fathers.
read Justin Martyr?
I've read Justin Martyr. I haven't read his
Okay.
dialogue with Trifo, but I've read his first apology, and I know what. Yeah, I've read that. I've read your document, I think it's going to go back more into interpretation issues because I believe people are going to have an issue in regards to like. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Do you think if this is a non-Christian statement? Do you think it's non-Christian to say the Father is greater than the Son?
Sorry, say that one more time.
Do you think it is a non-Christian statement to say the Father is greater than the Son?
It's a non-Christian statement. What does that mean? You have to qualify what non-Christian statement means.
So there's a reason why I'm asking that specific question. I'm going to qualify it in my statement right here. Some people are going to have issues with saying, "Oh, the Father's greater."
It could. No, when you say the Father is greater than the Son, if you say non-Christian as in non-Nicene statement, I think yes, in its original context and historical understanding, yes, it would be Nicene Christian statement. However, the fathers after Nicaea, they have their way of explaining that. They say that he's greater in role and not in ontology, and so it's just gonna depend on what you mean by non-Christian statement.
And that's exactly the point I was making because it's going to come down to interpretation thing. Because even in John of Damascus, I'm sure you've heard of him. I'm in his writing and on the Orthodox faith. He makes that statement. And so, in regards to let's say the quote unquote, I'm gonna say quote unquote, um, the quote unquote subordinationist statements in the pre-Nicene fathers, I wouldn't believe that they're speaking about Christ being lesser in ontology,
But
but just the
but,
fact of being
but that's the point.
just to finish, just
Sure.
the fact that Christ is begotten by the Father, eternally begotten. In a
Yeah.
sense of causality, the Father is greater, but
But
not in
but
the
they,
sense of
they
ontology.
well they make it clear that it's an ontological distinction, though. That's
And so
that's
yes, And so, sure, we can go there. And I'm be yeah, we can go there. We can go there.
So do you believe that Justin Martyr believes in an ontologically distinct other God?
You know, you've made the same statement. Define other. You mean other in separation or other in distinction?
Numerically distinct, as he says.
Numerically distinct?
Yeah, a numerically distinct God. He says it himself. He says, when I say distinct, I mean numerically, not in will. So they have a united will, but they're two gods, according to Justin Martyr.
That's if you're counting by identity, which is not that's not normatively how the church fathers counts it. Maybe that's how Justin counts it.
Yeah, that's just not true, though. I mean, that's what
that is true.
Yeah, no, that's what Bo Branson asserts, but that's not true. You want to know why?
Well, I can quote to you a certain church father, and I think the chaplains as well.
Well, we'll see. I'm going to get to you. You said that the church fathers didn't count by identity. Is that right?
I'm making a statement that's certain that especially I'd say the majority, yes.
How many persons do the church fathers count?
3.
Do they count that by identity?
Yes, they count that by they're counting that by yes.
So they do count by identity.
Yes.
You just said they don't.
I'm in regards to them being God.
So the counting method is identity.
So the counting method is identity.
The default counting method that they use is counting by identity.
Well, it's a lot more nuanced than just saying counting by identity.
You just said they count 3 persons. They can only count 3 persons if they're counting by identity.
Right, because there's a distinction between the persons.
Right. That's how you count by identity. It's by distinction.
Right. But
so they do count by identity.
Yes, I never rejected that they did not.
No, but you did. You just, brother, come on. You just said they don't count by identity, and you're certain about it.
I know. I'm pretty sure I did not say that. Wait. Can I go back? Okay, so I said in majority they counted. They were counting by division.
They don't count by identity.
And I said
Justin Martyr counts 2 gods.
Right, and okay. I understand the point that you're making. 100%.
Just wait. How many gods does Justin Martyr count?
How many gods? We can, in some sense. I'm not. So yeah. What I think you're trying to do is you're trying to force me into saying.
Come on. I'm not forcing. I'm saying according to him, what he says. He says it plainly. So I'm asking you.
It's about
does he count 2 gods? No, not interpretation. There's no, it's not ambiguous. It's clear. He even clarifies what he means at the end. He says, I shall persuade you that there is, and that there is said to be, and there is another God, a heteros theos, another God, subject to the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God. Then he explains what he means. We have the interpretation. He says, when I say other God, I mean numerically.
Can we go to the text?
Not in will.
I don't want to interrupt you, but can we go to the text as well?
Yeah, sure. It's here. $55 to 56. Here we go. Okay. Here, we're in 56. That's what he says. He says, I shall attempt to persuade you, since you have understood the scriptures of truth of what I say, that there is, and that there is said to be, another God and Lord, subject to the maker of all things, who is also called an angel, because he announces to men whatsoever the maker of all things, above whom there is no other God, wishes to announce to them. Okay, He says the same thing again, and then he explains. Let me just find where it was. It's in 56. Let me just Control F. Oh, here we go. So he says, so this is just a couple paragraphs under. He says the same thing. He says, reverting to the scriptures, I shall endeavor to persuade you that he who is said to have appeared to Abraham and to Jacob and to Moses, and who is called God, watch, is distinct from him who made all things. Numerically, I mean, not distinct in will. So he's saying there's somebody else who's called God, there's another God. And what I mean by that is that he is another God numerically, but not distinct in will. So for Justin Martyr, there are two gods, one supreme God above whom there is no other God, and one God under the supreme God, who's another God. They're united in will, so they agree on everything, okay? But there are two gods. They're numerically distinct. So then, would you agree with Justin Martyr when he says that he believes in two gods?
In distinctive persons.
In the what, sorry?
In distinctive persons who both have the fullness of
He
deity.
doesn't say that, though. He says
he doesn't. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, so you don't get to read anachronisms into the works of Justin Martyr. He doesn't say there are two persons and one God. It's not found there. He says they are two different gods. They're numerically different gods, and they're united in will. That's what he says. So do you agree that there are two gods, as he says?
That is reading him, and that's reading Justin Martyr and obviously everyone has a different paradigm, but I don't believe I read things obviously in the and obviously in context and in the Christian tradition as well, and so obviously me believing he's a Christian, this statement doesn't have any issue. But if one wants to take what he says, what Justin Martyr says, and take it and just to take it in a more literal sense, then one could come to that conclusion. But that doesn't mean
I didn't say there's an issue, though. All I asked was, do you agree that an Orthodox lowercase o or uppercase, since you are Orthodox, can an Orthodox Christian say there are two numerically distinct gods?
Can an Orthodox Christian say that there are two? It would. I believe it. I believe it would be impious.
I didn't say if it's impious or not. I said, can somebody stay within Orthodoxy and proclaim two numerically distinct gods?
Well, again, I'd say because I'm not going to answer it obviously in the specific way that you're asking it, but I'd say it's impious because it depends on what we mean when we say such things.
Okay, so then there is a correct context in which somebody, as a Christian, say, I believe in two gods. And this person, so you did. Okay, so now you're backtracking. You said
no, I'm not, because that takes out the Holy Spirit. Because that means that you're just making a separation between the Holy Spirit.
Does Justin Martyr take out the Holy Spirit when he says there are two numerically distinct gods?
Well, that's just that part of the argument. If we're talking about the entirety of his corpus of his work, then you can make a statement.
So then saying two gods doesn't mean you're taking out the Holy Spirit. So you could say as a Christian, there are two numerically distinct gods, and there's a correct context and meaning in which somebody could say that.
No, you're messing up. You're switching up what I said in my words. I never said that it would be okay to say two gods. First and foremost, I'd say it would be impious. Why would I say it would be impious?
You just said it depends on the context. It depends on what somebody means.
Well, again, let me finish. I said it would be impious. Doesn't mean it's absolutely wrong, but I said that it's okay to say it if then we can then get from what they're saying what's the meaning of such thing.
Good. So then you could, as a Christian, say there are two gods as long as the meaning is correct.
No, because you're leaving out the Holy Spirit. I'm not talking about.
You keep backtracking now.
I'm not backtracking.
You just said that, okay. And then you backtracked.
Okay, I know you know what we believe, right? So my point is that if someone were to say this statement, not just out of nowhere, they would then be leaving out the Holy Spirit. My point is
not out of nowhere. I said with the correct meaning. Can somebody say there are two gods within the correct meaning?
It's impossible to say such a thing.
So then Justin Martyr He said it. You just said it's impossible. So Justin Martyr's a heretic.
That's one point. If he's just talking about the relation between the Father and the Son,
Right.
And
That's
so-
what
and so
I'm
when-
saying in the correct meaning. I just said that. So when a Christian is talking about the relationship between the Father and the Son alone, okay, or just the two,
yeah,
can he say there I believe in two gods with the correct meaning?
and in the correct meaning of what I'm saying, this is also including the Holy Spirit, right?
Yes.
What I say, I would say no, because I don't think that's the context of Justin Martyr right there.
So then Justin Martyr is a heretic.
No.
So then a Christian can say I believe in two gods and not be a heretic.
No.
So then Justin Martyr, who said there are two gods, is a heretic.
So if I'm solely speaking out the relation between the Father and the Son, and I say, and I'm making a point, I'm making a point in regards to a pagan, and I say, look, and then there is another God, right? I'm not like I'm the point of what I'm saying is that the statement that he's making has nothing to do as of right now with the Holy Spirit. But if someone,
I agree with you. I agree with you, dude. So when Justin Martyr says there are two numerically distinct gods, and he's describing the relationship of the Father and the Son alone, you could say that as a Christian, that there are two numerically distinct gods.
in regards to this context, in regards to Justin Martyr, correct?
Yes.
It would, I think, yes, but it would be impious.
Okay, so yes, you can be a Christian and say there are two gods. That's
It would
all.
be impious.
It would be impious. Sounds good. Okay, so then we got over the first hiccup on the road here that Justin Martyr said there are two gods. The second thing that I would go to is where Justin Martyr says that the Son is corruptible and susceptible to change and destruction.
Can you
Can
bring
you be
up?
a Christian and believe that?
Can you bring up the text first? I believe I've read this before.
Yes.
I just have to get a refresher.
Yes, I could bring it up. Hold on. All right. Orthodox Muslim. What the heck is the file, man? Recent. All right, here we go. Okay. Okay, so it's Dialogue with Trifo, chapter 5. Let's just share my screen quickly. Wait.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not gonna say too much. I haven't read this text yet, so
No, that's fine. You could just tell
I'll
me
make a
how
couple
you
points
could
and then
you could just justify it. All right, you see my screen?
not yet. I'm sure it'll be coming up soon.
Yeah.
There we go.
Here we go. So it's Dialogue with Trifo, chapter 5. Okay, this is the document I made. So the text is straight copied and pasted from New Advent. All right.
I trust you.
So,
Yep.
So, Justin, is what you say then of a like nature that which with that which Plato and Timaeus hints about the world when he says that it is indeed subject to decay inasmuch as it has been created, but it will neither be dissolved nor meet with the fate of death on account of the will of God. Does it seem to you that the very same can be said of the soul and generally of all things? For those things which exist after God, or shall at any time exist, these have the nature of decay, and are as such as may be blotted out and cease to exist. For God alone is unbegotten and incorruptible. So for Justin Martyr, only the unbegotten God is incorruptible.
He's speaking about the nature, and so can you hear me?
I can hear it.
Okay, awesome. My own screen is loading. But even in On the Orthodox Faith by John of Damascus, he speaks about, and he is a post-Nicene father, way past Nicaea, and he makes a very similar argument, saying that the essence is unbegotten. The nature that they each and every one share is unbegotten. But obviously, you and I know that particularly speaking about the persons, that the Son is unbegotten. So the Son, in his individuality, in himself, is begotten, but the nature that he possesses is
I understand what
so the point that I believe, and I have read this part before, just with an argument with a Muslim in this regards, the nature is unbegotten. So yes, I believe that this is unbegotten. I don't believe it's speaking about the person of the Father at all. So no.
Okay, sounds good. So I know what you believe. I know you believe the nature is unbegotten. However, this distinction is anachronistic, is not found in the writings of Justin Martyr. In the writings of Justin Martyr, sorry?
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I would disagree with that. I don't think.
No, just let me finish. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you why you can't disagree. According to Justin Martyr's writing, he doesn't make that distinction. He doesn't say the nature of God is unbegotten. Then there's the persons, and then the Son, who is truly has that unbegotten nature, is begotten via the relations of opposition, via his individuation. He doesn't make that distinction. For Justin Martyr, the unbegotten God is the Father himself. What's the evidence for that?
Okay, so let's.
One sec. Here, you read the first apology, right?
Well, I've read the first apology, but just to go back onto what we just to.
Just wait, I'm just finishing off. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. First apology, chapter 14. Look what he says. He says, "And thus do we also, since our persuasion by the word, stand aloof from them, the demons, and follow the only unbegotten God through his Son." So according to Justin Martyr, who is the only unbegotten God?
In this context, it's the Father.
Good. Is there any context in Justin Martyr where the only unbegotten God doesn't refer to the person of the Father?
Yes, in the chapter you just gave me, because
that's the very chapter. That's the very chapter in question. That's fallacious.
Well, no, because I was about to say that what this is right here. This is called the equivocation fallacy. Unbegotten, they're both the same term used.
You're equivocating, not me.
What? How? Okay,
you're equivocating.
Okay, wait. Okay,
I'll tell you how you're equivocating. You want me to tell you how you're equivocating?
I'd love for you to tell me how I'm equivocating, but I just want to make my point. That what is the context of the chapter that we just read? It is in regards to the nature that he's speaking about, right? Is the context.
He's not talking about the nature. No.
So wait, can we go back and see if he's talking about the nature?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Here we go. It is what you say then of a like nature with that which Plato in Timaeus hints about the world when he says that it is indeed subject to decay, inasmuch as it has been created, but that it will neither be dissolved nor meet with the fate of death on account of the will of God. Does it seem to you that the very same can be said of the soul and generally of all things? So he's speaking about particular things, correct?
Well, no, I'd say in particular things in regards to nature in and of itself.
No, he said the soul and generally of all things.
Yeah,
speaking about particular things. Okay, so we're gonna read.
The question is, okay, so
just watch. It's gonna be clear. It's gonna be clear. Just wait. Here, watch. For those things which exist after God, or shall at any time exist, these have the nature of decay. He doesn't say these natures decay. He says these possess the nature of decay. Who is
Right.
the only one who possesses the nature that doesn't decay? It's the only unbegotten God. So the only one who doesn't decay is the one who possesses the nature that doesn't decay. And that is the unbegotten God. So the unbegotten God for Justin Martyr and all his writings is the Father alone. He's saying all created things are corruptible. All generated things are corruptible. The only incorruptible is the ungenerated, unbegotten. And who is that according to Justin Martyr? That is the Father all over his works. That is all over his works. I could give you 10 instances off the top of my head where Justin Martyr calls the Father the unbegotten God or the only unbegotten God. Not only that, but he says the Son of God is created. And he applies Proverbs chapter 8, verse 22, I think, to him. So then in Justin Martyr, does he make a distinction between the only unbegotten God being the nature and the only unbegotten God being the Father? Does he make that distinction ever in his works?
I would say yes in regards to the what we just read. I think it's chapter 5. Yeah,
So,
and I which I would like to go back because that is in regards to your interpretation. Can I do the same thing, but in regards to reading it as well?
do what? Sorry.
Can we go back to that same passage? And then also the same way you read it and you
Sure.
what's the word?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, awesome. Thank you. So he says, Justin, in what you say then of a like nature, so that which Plato and Timaeus hints about the world, so like nature, and so this let me ask you this question. I want to see if you agree with my premises. Does this, in regards to what Justin is writing right here, is he equivocating, not identically, but similarly, the a nature that which Plato was talking about, and that the world is corruptible, and it's subject to decay?
Yeah, he's talking about things that contain a nature of decay,
Awesome. And
that
it says,
possess a nature of decay.
awesome. But that's the nature of decay, right? And so they're talking about things. Things possess the nature of decay. And would you say that that
Yeah.
also is a part of when it says about said of the soul and generally of all things, right?
The soul possesses a nature of decay.
So awesome. So that there are things that have the nature of decay, and so then he goes and talks about for those things which exist after God. So he's speaking about created things, right?
Mhm.
And so and obviously I'll just read it now. Or shall at any time exist. These have the nature of decay. So they possess. Okay,
So
awesome. So
these things possess the nature of decay. Okay, keep
yes,
going.
these things possess the nature of decay, and
Right.
are such as may be blotted out and cease to exist. For God alone is unbegotten and incorruptible. And my question, when he says that, in what way is he unbegotten and incorruptible?
Yeah. So the Father possesses the nature that is incorruptible and unbegotten.
Thank you. That's the point. Oh wait. Okay, the Father
So
does
who is
possess that.
so
Yes.
who
Wait.
is
Wait. 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 Wait.
who
Wait.
is
Wait. Wait. Wait.
so who is
Wait.
the only unbegotten? So
Wait.
who
Wait. Wait.
is you just buried
No. No.
yourself.
No. I did not
So who
because
is just wait,
wait.
who
Wait.
is
Wait.
the
Wait.
subject
I
of
asked you. I
predication?
asked you if. Wait. Wait. I asked you if I can make this point. If
Okay, you
because
made it.
you have your
So
time, which
can
I
I
have my time.
respond now?
So well, no, I'm not finished yet. So he says for God. Now let's well, let like I'm like yeah. So let's say right here, God. Not we cannot speak about Father, Son, or Holy Spirit. But in this context, he's talking about God alone is unbegotten and incorruptible. He's not talking
So
about
when
in
it,
any in
right. So
context.
can I
He's
respond to you now?
well, I'm not. I'm just going to finish my point. He is
Okay.
speaking about things. He's speaking about nature. Does a thing have a nature? He says that God has the nature of unbegottenness, and having the nature of being incorruptible. He
No, he
doesn't
doesn't.
speak about. He doesn't speak about hypostatic origin
All right,
or the Father being the cause.
you're just repeating yourself. Can I respond now?
Yeah, okay, yeah, and so yeah, but
Okay.
my point is that he's speaking about nature.
Who is the one who possesses here?
God. God is the one who possesses all things.
Okay.
Things or God
but-
possess.
Okay, good. When he says God alone,
Yes.
what's the subject of predication here?
That's the question at hand. That's
Just wait,
the question
just
at
wait,
hand.
just wait. Who's the possessor?
That's the subject that we're questioning. Me and you are questioning.
Just wait. Who possesses? Natures don't
God.
possess.
God.
Yeah. Who?
God.
God, when you're saying God here, is referring to a nature, right?
It doesn't say possess, it says is. He's equivocating. God
Yeah,
is.
so that's a statement of
equivocation, not
that's a
possess.
statement of predication.
Huh?
That's a statement of predication, right?
If I say the wall is white, I'm saying that the
You're,
wall
you're,
in the,
you're predicating whiteness to the wall.
right. I'm describing the
Who
wall.
is
I'm describing the wall.
brother? Who is the possessor here?
God is I'm not saying it's in regards to possession.
Okay, brother, when he says God is incorruptible, that's a statement of predication, correct?
I'm saying he's describing God. He's describing God.
So there's a possessor of a nature. Who is the possessor of the nature?
God is. I'm not.
You're saying, you're sorry. You see, you're backtracking. You said when he says God, he's referring to the divine nature, not to a particular person.
Yes.
Okay. Natures are a predicate or sets of predicates. Okay. They're not subjects.
Right.
So
I know that. Yeah, they're definitely not subject. Yes.
So who possesses the nature here?
Do you? I've just said I'm not going to speak about it in regards to possession. I'm speaking of description.
Dude, when he says God alone, we already agreed he's speaking about things that possess a nature of decay versus the only thing that does not possess a nature of decay. We already agreed. So what are the things that possess the nature of decay are the particular creatures. Now, what is the thing that possesses the nature that doesn't decay?
What I don't believe that. So yes. So he's okay. So I don't believe that the subject in and of itself is speaking about the persons or a person.
Yeah, I know you don't believe that, but you're gonna have to concede that because he is talking about a thing which possesses the nature that is unbegotten and incorruptible. So who is the subject of predication there?
Okay, so well, again, I'm not okay. So if I speak about nature of what? Nature that is incorruptible or nature of decay, it's the whole point is that it's speaking about a nature that is what? A nature that is incorruptible and unbegotten.
So somebody possesses that nature, right?
That's not what.
That's
the whole contention of the verse. That's the whole contention that we're speaking about. That's the whole contention that we're speaking about.
So who is the God that possesses that nature, dude?
You keep on going in circles. That's the whole thing that we're trying to speak about.
You keep going on circles. Okay. When he says a soul possesses this kind of nature, therefore it's gonna decay. The creature possesses this kind of nature.
Nature of what?
It's gonna decay. What do you mean nature of what?
Because it says a nature a nature that can decay. That's the whole point.
Just saying that the underlying reality of a soul is that it's susceptible to cease to exist or to be destroyed, okay, or to change, okay.
Yeah.
The underlying reality of the only unbegotten God is that he does not decay. The only unbegotten God for Justin Martyr is the Father. That's in all of his writings. He doesn't speak of God as a set of properties or a universal common essence. He speaks of the only unbegotten God as the Father. So he says the only unbegotten God is uncorruptible. I think for Justin Martyr, in order to be incorruptible, you must be ungenerate, which you believe Jesus is generated, therefore he cannot be the only unbegotten God.
in his personhood, not in his nature.
Sorry, what? In his personhood?
Yes.
So you're saying Jesus is begotten in his personhood, correct? So he's
Yes.
hypostatically begotten.
Yeah, not in his nature.
Okay, sounds good. Let's actually talk about that for a second here before I end the stream. Okay.
Awesome. And so,
So-
and that. Can I say something? And truly, my I don't mean to interrupt you. My apologies. I struggle with that. I just want to apologize for it. But I
Sure.
did want to also speak about, like, because you made a statement, because I think that's the whole topic of what we're talking about right now is the God, who is the in regards to like the meaning of the word God and or polytheos there. My point is that then I would love to go to Justin Martyr's corpuses, his entire corpus, and speak about, does he only speak about the Father, or in regards to speaking about the Father as unbegotten? But I think in the context he's speaking about, the context is talking about nature.
For Justin Martyr, the unbegotten God is the Father. That's right. But
Okay.
you mentioned something. You said that the Son is hypostatically generated. Is that right?
Begotten, yes.
Okay. So then you would say paternity is it an essential property of the essence or no?
Not, you said an essential property of the, well, no, because they share the exact same essence.
Okay, so then X can be God without having paternity.
God, I've heard this argument before. He said X can be God without having paternity, because paternity relates to the person and their hypostatic properties or their hypostatic origin, not to the essence.
Okay, so then what makes somebody God is his essential properties, the divine making properties, right?
What makes somebody
Not,
God
not the hypostatic ones.
What makes somebody God is possessing the essence.
Okay, good. And is paternity a property of the essence?
It's a property of the Father.
So it's not a property of the essence.
Yes, in regards to, it's not a property of the essence. It's a property of his personhood.
Good. So X could possess the divine nature without having paternity.
Yes, in regards to what I'm speaking about.
Good. So then the Father can possess the divine nature without having paternity.
That's impossible, because that's who the Father is.
Okay, so then it's an essential divine making property to have paternity.
Oh my God. Bro, dude. Okay. That doesn't make any sense if the Father, if by his identity is known as the paternity, as the arche, as the cause.
But why?
Because that's how God revealed himself. Now,
Yeah,
I'm
but why?
like,
No, just wait.
Mm-hmm.
You said paternity is not grounded by the essence. Yes?
I'm saying, define, what do you mean when saying paternity? Paternity is not grounded by the essence.
So the Father, what makes him God has nothing to, or the first person of the Trinity, paternity is one of those things that makes him God.
Paternity is how he exists, is the mode of his existence.
I understand that. Okay.
Right.
But the divine essence, okay, he is not the Father because of the divine essence.
Yes, he is not the Father because of the divine
Okay,
essence.
good. Okay, good.
So
then
wait.
Just let me finish.
Well, you asked me a question. I need to clarify what I'm saying so you don't clip farm me. In regards to, because obviously, like the Father in regards to paternity, he possesses the nature. In regards to just the essence. Because there's no separation between personhood and essence.
Okay. There's a distinction between them, right?
Distinction, not a separation. Yes.
Good. I didn't talk about that. So then,
right, just make it clear though.
The first person is not a father because of the essence.
I'm sorry. Say it again. I was looking at something.
Is the first person of the Trinity a father because of the essence?
I mean, I could say in some degree, yeah, in some degree. Yeah.
So it's a property of the essence?
Well, no, it's what I mean by when I say that.
Well, then it's not because of the essence.
Again, it's what I mean by when I said you should probably ask, what do you mean by that?
When I say because of the essence, it's because it's an essential property of the essence.
He is the Father. He is the Father because of his mode of existence.
Okay,
and
so not,
wait. And him
not because of the essence,
begetting,
right?
and eternally begetting the Son.
That's fine, but not because of the essence.
Not because, he to be the Father in regards to what we call him, he has to possess the essence.
That's fine, but the essence doesn't make him a father.
Right. Yes.
Good. What makes him a father?
Him eternally begetting the Son.
Why must he eternally beget?
I don't know. That's how God has revealed himself to us.
So then you don't know what grounds this essential hypostatic property?
What grounds this potential hypostatic property?
Mhm.
Why it must? I think when we get to God,
Why must the first person be a father in every world?
can you repeat that? Sorry, I just got a call and you glitched out.
What the question was? What grounds the necessity of the first person being the father in every world?
You got to give me 1 second.
Yeah.
I don't want you to keep repeating yourself. I just had a call come through.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll repeat. What grounds the necessity of the first person of the Trinity being a father in every world?
I'm gonna be honest. This right here, like, so I think you're asking the question in regards to like, why does God have to be a Trinity?
Not a Trinity. Why does he have to beget in every world?
I believe that because of his revelation, because I believe that's how God has revealed himself.
No, he revealed himself.
I cannot answer this question.
He revealed himself in this world.
I can't answer it because of how he's revealed himself.
Okay. I could reveal myself to you as somebody with a kid. Yes? Say, hi, my name is the Orthodox Muslim.
Yeah.
I have 2 sons. Okay.
Yeah.
So I revealed myself as somebody who's a father. Yes?
Yeah.
Do I have to be a father in every world?
You don't have to be a father in every world, no.
Good. So the father revealed himself as having a son in this world. Does he have to have a son in every world?
Yes.
Why?
Because he can't change.
Is that a property of the essence? Because immutability is a property of the essence.
Right.
So then paternity must be a property of the essence.
But no, I also believe that the persons in themselves can't change because.
So then he doesn't change. Well, him not being a father is not a change.
Well, follow me in this logic, because if there's a strong relation between the essence and the persons. If
that presupposes the existence of the other person.
Can I just finish what I was saying?
No, but I want you to follow. The question was, why must the father? So just remember, because you keep talking about other persons, that's the very thing that we're questioning. Why must the father beget other persons? Why must he be a father to begin with in every world? You can't appeal to existence of persons when I'm telling you why must they exist to begin with.
Because that would then make even the essence in and of itself change because they possess essence.
So then these relations are properties of the essence.
No, they're not properties of the essence. So then
the essence doesn't change because they have nothing to do with the essence.
If the Father were to create a fourth person in time, then it would,
I said, why must he be a father to begin with? Why does he have to
I believe he's a father because of revelation.
Yeah, I understand, but why does he have to be a father in every world? Why is it necessary? For me, like I said, I can reveal to you I'm a father. It doesn't mean I could have not been a father.
But you also exist in time. That's the difference. You exist in time. God doesn't exist in time. That doesn't follow.
But existing in time has nothing to do with this, though.
It literally does.
No, it has nothing to do. We're talking about generation. I didn't say generation.
Your paradigm, but it does in a Christian paradigm.
No, I didn't say generation.
You understand that, right?
You're not understand. I didn't say generation has to be temporal. Okay, fine. Atemporal generation. Why must that occur in every world?
Okay, then the question is, why must eternal generation occur in every single world?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the eternal eternally being begotten of the Father is the hypostatic.
Why must that be the case in every world?
I'm gonna say 2 things because of revelation, and I think we're kind of going in circles in regards to because you're not gonna get a different answer. I mean, I'm just trying to be honest. You're not gonna get a different answer out of me. That's
okay. That's fine. So then, we know that God is all knowing in every world because that's grounded by His essence.
Well, that's an energy.
We know that's fine. We know that He is immutable in every world because that's grounded by the essence. We know that He's all powerful in every world because that's grounded in his essence. You said paternity is not grounded in the essence. So why then must he be a father in every world?
He doesn't exist. He doesn't exist in time.
Has nothing to do with time, though.
It literally has to do
Paternity has nothing to do with time. Why must he be a father in every world?
It doesn't make any sense, I'll be honest.
All of a sudden, you can't understand?
No,
why does he have to be a father in every world?
I don't understand the point that I don't understand.
Okay.
Wait. Let me at least finish.
Okay.
If you are, and you said we think that this is grounded in the essence. This is grounded in the essence. You know, we don't speak by the essence, right? So I believe these to be energies. My point is that if this, you said it's not important if it is not, if it is or is not in time. If this thing is in time, then by definition, then it means the essence can change. We don't believe the essence can change. Therefore, for Father, Son, and Spirit must exist.
The relations are not properties of the essence, though.
I know.
So then the essence doesn't change.
But that means you must make a separation between the essence and the person. So then
I'm making a distinction.
No, that's not a distinction, bro. That's literally a separation.
And that assumes they have the same essence anyway. That's the very thing we're battling. But
you're assuming this in your own conversation. You're assuming that they do.
You're assuming the Father and the Son have the same essence. I'm contending that. So you
can't. But in this conversation,
can't use that as an answer. So I'm saying the Father.
How can I use it as an answer?
What do you mean?
How can I not use the fact that
Because that's the very thing I'm contending. That's the thing you're trying to prove to me. You're trying to prove to me that they could have the same essence while having these hypostatic properties that are necessary in every world. I'm saying they can't have the same essence. Why? Because it seems to be that the Father has to be a father in every world. And it seems that the only grounding possible for that is the essence. So then if the essence if it's an essential property of the essence to be a father, then the Son cannot have the same essence as the Father, because the Son will also be a father. Okay? So then this is circular. So I'm asking you, for example, I'm a father in this world. Let's say I'm not actually, but let's say I'm a father in this world. And I came up to you, Jordan, and I said, in every possible world that I exist, I have to be a father. And you tell me, well, why? Why must that be the case? Well, I don't know. It just says in every world that the Orthodox Muslim exists, he's a father. But the question is why? Why can't the Orthodox Muslim exist and not be a father? Well, there is no why, because there's no grounding for that necessity. But if it was to do with the soul, because it's essential property of the essence and grounded by the essence, the human essence, we'll say, in every world, Jordan, that I exist, I have a soul. You tell me why? Well, because I'm a human. And human essence grounds the necessity of having a soul and rationale. So that in every world that I exist, where I'm a human, I have a soul. So that grounds the necessity. So when it comes to the Father, or the first person of the Trinity, what grounds the necessity of him having paternity in every world? If it's not the essence, then what is it?
And so I understand the point you're making, but you exist. I know, and I say you exist in time. So the fact, so that there's a huge
nothing to do with time. That's literally nothing. What does that have to do with time? We're talking about modal logic. We're talking about possible world. It has nothing to do with time. Forget time. Why does the Father have to eternally generate in every world? Why does he have to generate outside of time in every world?
And I guess again, like that only way I'm going to answer that is by revelation and by logic, because
not revelation.
Wait.
In this world, man. My goodness, we went over this.
Can't finish.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean it's the same answer, that if you can exist in a world without a son, because you yourself now you would not be a father. You would not be a father if you had no son nor a daughter. Mm-hmm. You yourself could still exist.
So why can't the Father exist without a son?
Why can't the Father exist without the Son? Because because one, by revelation. I know it seems to be you're not obviously
The revelation is only in this world.
Wait. I know you don't accept the answer. That's what I was trying to say. I know you don't accept the answer.
It's not that I don't. I accept it. I'm saying it doesn't answer the question. I'm saying, fine, revelation, but that's only to do with this world. I'm asking about possible worlds.
Right.
So, for example, in this world, God saved us by crucifixion. Yes?
Yes.
He revealed that. But in
Yes.
another world, he could have saved us another way.
Right.
Maybe by an electric chair. So in another world, it could have been something else. So I'm asking you, in this world, God begot a son, according to you. Why does he have to do that in every world?
Why does he have to do that in regards to the crucifixion, or you're asking in regards to the Trinity, right?
In regards to being a father.
Right. I would say in regards to being a father, I would say in regard, like, the reason why he would have to do that is because then the father's existence, the father wouldn't even exist in and of itself. The father wouldn't exist in that world.
Why?
Because then he wouldn't be a father.
But you're assuming he's a father. I'm saying, why does he have to be a father?
Although I can't answer that question, if I'm being honest.
That's the question that the Arians posed to the Cappadocians, and Saint Gregory of Nazianzus, Saint Gregory of Nyssa, and Basil did not have an answer for it. And until today, you don't. The Arians got you on this one. You have to admit it. Eunomius got you on this one.
Okay, well,
that proves that the Father and the Son, at the very least, are homoousios, not homoousios. That they are of similar natures, but they can't have the same essence.
Yeah, and so no, I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna be honest. I'm kind of happy if what you're saying is true about this is like if I'm in the same company as the Cappadocians, and I'm kind of happy. I'm happy that I'm thinking the same way as the Cappadocians. And if I can't answer that question, it's predicated upon the nature of Christ, and our understanding of the Father, because obviously if that's the case that you're speaking about and the case that I'm speaking about, it's because of different axioms of the Father and the Son.
Okay, so then there's no answer. It's just okay. Well, that's it. Thank you for coming, man. I appreciate it.
Quick question. How old are you?
I'm 22 next month.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie. My boy told me you're 21. That's incredible, man. You don't look 21, but that's incredible. And I just wanted to ask, but I mean, because you read a lot. When did you start reading into, like, obviously, like, the Quran and both the scriptures and church history? Because obviously you're extremely well read.
Church history probably a year ago. Everything else it's been like 5 years.
Wow, only a year. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, how often do you do these streams? I'd love to hop on at the time.
One day TikTok, one day YouTube. So every day.
Like every other day?
So on YouTube every other day, yeah.
Awesome. Well, have a blessed day, man. Have a blessed day, Lubiano.
All right, thank you, man. Thank you for coming. Have a good one. Bye.